This is the Via Degli Dei, the Way of the Gods, a 130-kilometer trail that crosses the Apennines between Bologna and Florence. Named after the ancient peaks it passes, the route has been shaped by centuries of travel, trade, and connection. In today's video, I'll share my solo journey along this path. 5 days on foot between Emilia-Romagna and Tuscany, through quiet forests, small villages, and moments that didn't go quite as expected. Good morning from Piazza Maggiore, Bologna. Today I'm starting Via Degli Dei. This is where it starts from, and I will be walking all the way to Florence. But I'm gonna tell you more on the actual trail because I need to get some coffee. I barely got any sleep. As much as I love the city in the evenings, I strongly dislike it in the morning. There's so much noise, there's construction, there's a lot of traffic. I started my walk with the best breakfast I found in Bologna. From there, the trail begins under the city's famous porticos. So from Bologna, the first part of the hike is to St. Luca's Sanctuary. I think that's the correct name. And this is actually an attraction that people visit from Bologna as well. So it shows in the popular attractions in Bologna. There are a lot of local shops. Everyone's starting their day. It's quite nice. The climb to the sanctuary of the Madonna di San Luca follows the longest arcade in the world, stretching almost 4 kilometers with close to 700 arches. And we're leaving Bologna. For centuries, this covered path has been the route of processions carrying Bologna's sacred icon of the Virgin Mary. Okay, so I got 18 more minutes, and yeah, I was really not expecting that my first hour of hiking would be just going upstairs the whole time. It's absolutely beautiful, and it seems like this archway path is going all the way to San Luca. I think and hope this is the last stretch. At the top stands the Basilica of San Luca, a Baroque church that has watched over the city since the 12th century. From its hill, you can see the red rooftops of Bologna and the wide Po Valley beyond. This is it, the first official marking. Pretty tempting to take this back. The second I exited the tourist area, I got like this big smile on my face. It feels so nice and so relaxing to just be in nature by yourself. And actually this stretch really reminds me of the first day on the Camino de Santiago. It's similar views, similar road. And I'm finally going downhill because it's been non-stop uphill on the stairs. So basically, to explain a little bit, the church is an attraction from Bologna. So many people visiting Bologna are hiking up those stairs to just see the church. There are also tourist buses, and you can also drive there. So it's just a popular tourist attraction 1 hour away from Bologna. The official trail and the markings actually start after the church. But that stretch, the touristy part, is also considered part of Via Degli Dei. I'm really curious how popular this is, and I'll probably see at my accommodation. I started quite late, so I'm not expecting to meet too many people on the way. I was a little bit nervous before starting because it's something new. I don't know what it's like, but once I started, I'm so happy. It's beautiful, and Tuscany is beautiful, so I have high expectations. Today is 20th of June, by the way, and I think June is the last month you can comfortably do it before the summer because it's already really hot, but it's bearable. I think in July and August it can get really, really hot. Maybe if you start very early at 5-6, that is an option, but yeah, today I started quite late, as I usually do. I did not actually bring a physical map, even though it was recommended to me. I have the map that you can find on the Via Degli Dei app, but it's not like a GPS, it's just like a normal map, so you'll still have to figure out where you are and where you're going. But so far it's very, very well marked. If it's gonna be like this, I don't see any issue. My first accommodation is in Sasso Marconi, which on the official website shows as part of the first stage. However, it turns out that it's an alternative route. Apparently it's very common for hikers. 1 second, this is a steep. Okay, so apparently it's very common for hikers to stop in Sasso Marconi, but it's not exactly on the trail. And what I noticed on the website, when you look for recommended accommodation, it always shows you many accommodations that are in the area, but they're completely off the trail. So not everything that you see in the stages on the official website is right on the trail, so it's good to research that if you don't want to take too much of a detour. It is not that easy to find accommodation in some places. I did pre-book everything because I don't know how many hostels there are. I don't know if they're available, so I didn't want to take any risks. All the accommodation I booked is private, but 2 of my accommodations are hostels. It's just that I booked a private room in a hostel, and the reason is that there wasn't much of a price difference between a bed in a shared room and a private room with a shared bathroom. The first official stage is Bologna to Brento. It is actually a long stage and it's not that easy. I wanted to do a shorter stretch, so I am going to take a detour via Sasso Marconi, where I have my first accommodation booked. Of course, I just started and already took an accidental detour. So I followed the signs, and at some point the sign became like an alternative route and I lost the main route. Yeah, long story short, I'm just following the Old Trails app with the official route, although I don't see any markings now here. I trust the app more. If it's not the marked route, the app at least is gonna take me where I need to get. So finally there's a marking after a long time, and this is an accommodation as well. So I need to pretty much keep this road for a while, and then at some point before going up a mountain, I need to actually abandon the trail and go towards Sasso Marconi, and from there my accommodation is also not exactly in Sasso Marconi, so I have another small detour, but I don't think it's that bad. The walk's been really easy after the church and after the stairs. I don't want to speak too soon, but I don't think the stretch is that long. I think Bologna Sasso Marconi is doable. If you're wondering if I trained for this, I did not, as usual. Anyway, this time I booked smaller stretches. This is not gonna be the wild experience I had on the Camino with the 30-kilometer walks multiple days in a row. My backpack is still pretty heavy, but it's not as heavy as it was on my first day on the Camino. The official first day stage is 16 kilometers, but because I'm stopping in Sasso Marconi, it's gonna be less than that, I think, from what I can remember. It is getting really hot, and the air is so humid, and I don't have that much water with me. I refilled my bottle at the church. I think I should have just got a bigger bottle. Anyway, I'll try to hurry up because it's getting really hot. The route is not particularly scenic, so I don't really feel like stopping. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to spending some time in my accommodation as well, since it's really lovely and it's in nature. This is a very wild stretch, as you can see. And it is very hot and humid. This stretch seems so long and I ran out of water, but I can see a fountain on my app, so I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it's closed. Yeah, there's just this long forest stretch, and I'm getting a bit tired, impatient as well. I would love a cappuccino and a tiramisu. This is a difficult stretch. Sometimes when I'm hiking, I reach a point where I'm wondering, why did I sign up for this? Why am I doing this? This is just uncomfortable. It feels horrible. I know I always get to this moment when I'm trying to push it a little bit, but then it's also equally rewarding. But this is that moment. So I have 1 hour and a half left to my accommodation. Soon I'm gonna go off the trail and just use Google Maps and just find my accommodation. I'm feeling much better now because I have 1 hour and a half and I can stop halfway through and have some really nice food. So here's where I'm going off the trail, and I'm going right towards Sasso Marconi. From here on, I'm not on the trail, and to be honest, if I could, I would take transportation because I don't necessarily feel like walking any extra mile. But oh, and it turns out I don't really have the option to stop for lunch because restaurants are closing around 2 and they open around 6:30, 7. So no food for me. I am beyond tired and I have 17 more minutes to my accommodation. And this is my accommodation, Agriturismo Rio Verde. Almost there. This is it. The garden looks so nice around this time of the day. I'm sure mosquitoes are gonna come in a second, but this place is absolutely lovely. Good morning from Sasso Marconi. I really wanted to film this last night, but I was so tired after I got here. I couldn't share anything, basically. So today is my second day on Via Degli Dei. Yesterday was more difficult than I thought, and it seemed longer than I thought. The hike itself wasn't difficult, but I was not expecting to go up the stairs for so long in the beginning of the trail. And then my main issue and why I crashed when I got here and why, I don't know, I felt so tired is because my accommodation here in Sasso Marconi is far away from the trail. I think it's gonna take me an hour to just get back to the trail, maybe even longer, which is crazy because if you're walking the long distance trail and then you have to take a 2-hour detour, it's really frustrating. And walking on the trail feels more meaningful, purposeful. But after you finished your stretch for the day and you have to walk for an hour by the side of a road to find some remote accommodation somewhere, it's not the same thing. And I remember those last 10 minutes when Sasso Marconi ended and I had to walk for 10 more minutes. I felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like I couldn't finish the walk, even though it was 10 minutes. The place where I'm staying now is like a B&B, and from what I can tell, it's predominantly family oriented, so I didn't really see any hikers. It's just people with families and kids. I have a few cheaper accommodations. My next one is an Airbnb, so it's a local host and they accommodate people in their house. So I'm gonna see what that is like. Not that many options for accommodation. A lot of the options that show up on the official website are off the trail, just like this one. This B&B was on their official website as being part of the accommodation on the trail. But for me, this is too far away. Also, another problem I'm having is the fact that my Airbnb host is only home at 5 p.m. And I wanted to leave early today, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave at noon in the heat. It makes more sense to stay here until 11 when I need to check out. Today's walk apparently is the most difficult, I think, from the whole trail. It is a steep climb. I think it's called Monte Adone. I'm walking from Sasso Marconi to Brento. Yeah, I'm a bit scared for today's hike, to be honest. I want to get a bigger bottle of water because I didn't see that many water sources. And I have a small bottle and I don't think that's enough. Also, I didn't show you the room. So this is what my room looks like. And this is the bathroom. So this was 95 euros with breakfast included. The Wi-Fi is really bad though, and there's no service at all outside the Wi-Fi. I just arrived in Sasso Marconi in the actual town, and now I'm going to the supermarket. I want to get some snacks for the road and a bigger bottle of water. This is my current situation. So I just need to reach the trail, basically. I did see a sign that Via Degli Dei is that way, but it's, yeah, not great. Honestly, don't go via Sasso Marconi. That would be my advice. Actually, never mind. There is a sign here, so there is an alternative path. And you don't have to take any main road to the actual route. Okay, good to know. So basically, I have the main official route in an app, and I was just using Google Maps to navigate to the route because I thought, you know, it's not gonna be in from Sasso Marconi since it doesn't officially cross it. However, I can see that they did mark additional paths. So Sasso Marconi is technically included, but basically it's a detour. This is actually quite a steep forest hike. I decided to stop for a little bit. I got a pistachio croissant from the supermarket. Still haven't reached the main trail yet. I'm on the alternative. And at least if I'm walking through the forest, the weather is fine. It's bearable. So I walked for 5 more minutes and I stopped here. I just could not stop. This is a beautiful place. And there's this breeze. The temperature is perfect, so I'm having the best time. So I still haven't reached the main trail. So far it's been a lot of forest hiking. It's been really lovely, but I haven't met any hikers and I'm missing the social aspect of it because so far there isn't really any. I'm really looking forward to my hostels because there I should meet some hikers. And I'm hoping for foreign tourists as well, because I've seen a few groups of Italian people, but they speak Italian, they're a group of friends. I'm not really gonna socialize too much. On top of that, I was expecting a little bit more of a historical aspect to it, some things to see on the route. I haven't really seen anything so far, but then again, I might be speaking too soon. Maybe I haven't even reached the good part. So I'm gonna wait and see, but yeah, so far it's been hiking in nature by myself. I have finally reached the main route to Badolo, and then I'm going to Brento. The fact that I already see it here makes me feel so much better. Basically, there are a lot of trails you can take, and they're all marked as Via Degli Dei, so you have all sorts of alternative paths. You can walk it from Bologna to Florence, you can walk it from Florence to Bologna, and yeah, it's up to you how much of a detour you want to take. I'm happy to be going downhill finally. There's been a lot of climbing today and yeah, I'm really grateful for the forest dresses because the temperature is better. You can see this is not an easy path. There's a lot of gravel and stones. But then again, I'm so happy with this downhill forest part. If it's continuing like this, that would be amazing. And after these stairs, I'm gonna go on the main road here, all the way to Brento. Oh yeah, the main road is nice, but I think there's gonna be more uphill soon, so shouldn't get too excited. So the official first day stage is Bologna Badolo. I do not recommend that entire stage unless you're really trained, because apparently, according to my All Trails map, that would take 7 hours and 15 minutes. A proper over 7-hour hike for me is way too much. It's also very hot outside, so I would really not recommend that. I would recommend splitting that in 2 parts. My concerning question is, am I actually going up this mountain? Because basically there are a lot of U-turns here all the way there. I'm not even gonna think about it. I'm just gonna take one step at a time. The fact that I'm on a main road and apparently I'll be on this main road all the way to Badolo makes it easy anyway, so that's good. I got 30 more minutes to Badolo. That's gonna complete the first day stage, and then about an hour to my accommodation. Once I see myself in Badolo, I'll take the break, I'll have my coffee that I got from the supermarket. I'll definitely enjoy the last hour, thinking I'm just walking for an hour to my accommodation. That seems easy. One downside of this trail is that there aren't many places to stop. On the Camino de Santiago, I was stopping a lot for a drink here and there and to socialize, and it made everything easier. But here, restaurants close after lunch and they open around 7, so during the day everything's closed, and even those restaurants are not that many. So both yesterday and today I didn't have anywhere to stop. Yes, here is Badolo. I'm really hoping to find some water somewhere because yeah, I ran out. Great news, I found water. There's an accommodation here. Ah, this changes everything. Finding a water source gives me such a boost to keep going. And back to the forest for what I believe is gonna be a long uphill hike. I'm still looking for a spot to stop for my coffee break. There is nowhere to stop in Badolo. This hike is crazy. I feel like I already reached my limit and I need to hike up this mountain for an hour, which is crazy. I know I can take many breaks. It's still quite early in the day. I can do this in 5 hours, but I honestly just want to stop. Just look at this. Yeah, turns out I am climbing that mountain I was talking about. Found the B&B. This place looks so nice. A normal road and 26 minutes left. I'm taking the cycling route. Don't think I can do any of that steep hiking anymore. Oh, actually my accommodation is on this route. It's a 7-minute walk, so thank God I didn't take the mountain hike, because then I would have had to come back somehow. There it is. I made it. I'm so happy I made it. I just want to relax. Tomorrow I have a shorter walk. It does seem like my estimations are not great. Here it is. And there is a cute dog that's barking at me. So here is my accommodation. This is an Airbnb. The accommodation is in someone's house. The host is absolutely lovely. This is more authentic for the Via Degli Dei. People coming here are hikers, and I feel more of the hospitality that comes with the actual trail, because yeah, yesterday it didn't feel like it at all. Good morning. Today is a beautiful day. The temperature is absolutely perfect. No, it's not too hot anymore. It's cloudy and nice. I'm super tired. I couldn't get proper sleep during this hike, and it wasn't anyone's fault. It's just me. I guess I'm not used to being on the road that much. My host told me I could leave the backpack at the accommodation this morning and just hike without it to the peak and then come back, take my backpack and carry on, which is not a bad idea. But today I have a very long hike again. I'm going to Madonna dei Fornelli. This is a difficult stretch and I'm scared that if I hike the peak and then I also do my stretch for the day, it might be too much. There is no transportation to back you up here, so you can just hitchhike if really needed, if there's a car passing by and if you're somewhere on main road, but there are many cars around. Other than that, you don't really have any bus or train option in this area. So long story short, I decided not to take any risks. I'm sure the views from the peak would be amazing, but it's not the main point of doing this trail. I've seen beautiful views and peaks before. That's what I'm thinking about. I do feel in a way like I missed out on a highlight of the trail, but I'm still walking the trail, so that's what's important. So since today's hike is also overwhelmingly long, all I'm thinking about is hiking to the next bar. After that, I will be hiking to Monzuno, where I can stop for pasta, and then after that I'm gonna think of my end destination. Just a few minutes into the trail and we're getting these stunning views. Beautiful! I think I just now reached the proper countryside. You know what's stressing me out? This is my trail. This was the difficult part I've done yesterday and I'm here. But look what's coming. And this is in today's stage. That is terrifying. Because this first part was very difficult. Also ignore these stats here because I didn't start it from the beginning. I'm trying to save battery, so I'm not always using the Old Trails app. But by the way, I'm loving this app. And I'm using the free version, not the subscription, and it's great to give you all the information, and all the trails are just so clear. I'm loving it. I honestly love the walking part. This is lovely. I'm going downhill, I'm walking, it's relaxing, there's this breeze, it's all perfect. But the second I need cardio, exercising, I'm lacking the training and I'm struggling. So I have to stop every minute whenever I do that, which is concerning and makes me want to train some more. Also, something that I forgot to mention is that yesterday in Brento I ended up not having dinner because it was Saturday, and when I messaged them to book a table they told me they were fully booked, and that was the only trattoria in Brento, and I just ended up having some crackers and going to sleep. So especially if it's the weekend, make sure to book a table. There are many hikers on this trail, but they're all Italian. I haven't met one single foreigner. A few solo hikers as well, but it's mainly Italian groups. There's a steep hike downhill, but honestly, downhill is good. Now I'm on my way to Monzuno, where I'm gonna stop for pasta. If they don't have seats available or something's not available, I'm honestly gonna cry. I feel like this stop is the only thing that keeps me going, and I want to take a longer break there. I am now rethinking my whole plan. I don't think I can make it at this pace. I don't know how I can get from Monzuno to Madonna dei Fornelli and hike like a whole mountain. Yeah, I need to mention that just like on the Camino, my backpack is very heavy because I'm carrying a camera and a laptop, and both of them have a few kilograms on top of everything else. That has a huge impact. Obviously, with a very tiny backpack or no backpack, things would be completely different. See, I had this whole climb here and it keeps going, and there's so many sections like this. My dream pasta place is closed, even though it said it opened at 12. I don't know what to do, honestly. I need to stop. It's just too much. There's no transportation. Maybe I can find accommodation here in Monsuno and try to amend my other booking for tomorrow. Much better about the hike now. I only have one smaller climb to do, and this is so beautiful. So I reached this part of the climb. I'm feeling a little bit better actually, but still really tired. But I made it through this, and I don't think there's that much left. So really looking forward to the part where I go downhill, and yeah, really want to reach my accommodation now. The last climb. This is what I've already done. And when this is over, then I just need to walk to Madonna dei Fornelli, which will be fine. This is it. Now I'm just descending towards Madonna dei Fornelli. Wow. I run out of water again, but that's fine. I'm so happy I made it. And the views are beautiful. And I'm a bit more happy because I reached all sorts of states on the way. I feel like this is finally the Tuscany I know. The views. The hills. I'm really hoping more of the trail is gonna be like this, because all these forest hikes were a lot. Today I had a lot of realizations that might have been just being tired, but I really started thinking about many things. But then I reached places like this, and everything is just so beautiful, and I'm close to my destination, and it's all worth it, you know? It all makes sense. I guess this is the beauty of hiking. It's like you reach the dark night of the soul, and then you reach this exciting moment at the end. And I always forget that before I reach this moment of freedom. And this morning, having gone through the first 2 days, I really thought there's no chance I could make it this far, especially with that climb. And I made it this far. This is by far the highlight of Via Degli Dei so far. Just wow. Look at this. Absolutely stunning, and I'm so happy it's cloudy, and yeah, it's just perfect. And I feel like I got more comfortable with the hiking as well. And I arrived. Here is my room. Here is my bathroom. And here is my view. Good morning. Today I'm walking segment 3 of Via Degli Dei, which is Madonna dei Fornelli to Passo della Futa, I think it's called, and then I'm walking a little bit past it to my accommodation. Today I have my nicest accommodation on the entire trail, and I'm really looking forward to that. They also have a pool and a really nice restaurant. To be honest, I thought lovely Italian food would be part of the trail, but it hasn't been, because in the past 2 villages, in the first one it was all fully booked and I didn't eat that night. And here in Madonna dei Fornelli there's no restaurant. I had dinner at a hotel, it was osteria, but the quality was really bad. It doesn't even compare to normal Italian food. As you can see, I'm struggling because there is quite a long uphill walk at the beginning of this stage, but then it's gonna be better based on my map. My Old Trails map turned out to be really helpful. That's what I'm counting on. It also shows water sources and they're very accurate. Really happy with it. And you have all the segments very clearly shown, and also the elevation gain for each stage and everything. So that is perfect. And yeah, I think this stage is gonna be more scenic than the previous ones. And I think I adapted a little bit more to the walks. However, I do tend to get to my accommodation and stay up late. It's like, you know, revenge bedtime procrastination. When you finally want to rest, but you don't want to sleep because that's like your free time. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to sleep at midnight and then I wake up at 7. And it's not enough sleep for me, especially if it's over multiple days. It's just not enough sleep. And even waking up at 7, by the time I manage to have breakfast and pack, I'm still starting at 10 a.m. So not great. At least the steep walk is on the road, which is much better than the forest steep hikes. So I'm not complaining too much about this. 1 minute later, I take it back. This is what I hated about this trail. Just steep forest hikes with no views, no reward, just stones and suffering. Yeah. Well, at least I got my voice back, because on my first 2 days I could barely talk about anything. I was just so overwhelmed with everything. Look ahead of me. Hopefully it's just this climb and that's it. Gotta stay positive. Okay, so I made it almost halfway through the climb. Then I'm just concerned about this part. But other than that, the rest of the trail, I think it's gonna be fine. I know many people are concerned about going downhill as well, but for me, that's not a problem. My knees are fine this time. To be honest, I am doing better physically than on the Camino when it comes to pain and just physical struggle. Surprisingly, because this is much more difficult. But I think it's because my backpack on the Camino was incredibly heavy at the start, and that's kind of what messed up the whole experience. This time I am only really struggling with the cardio side of it, and that's on the lack of training, and that's why you should not venture into these things without training more and doing your research. This is what I'm facing in front of me, and I think there's more. There's more, but at the end of this steep hike, there is freedom, I'm sure. I'm gonna walk relaxed and enjoy the views for a while. I think I arrived somewhere important. This section is so beautiful, and this is pretty much what I was expecting from the whole trail. Maybe I'm yet to be surprised. I don't want to speak too soon, but yeah, it's been underwhelming most of the time. I've been missing the highs. I had some lows and I had some, I guess I'm back to normals, but no highs, no wow moment at the end of the pain. And when I would get to my accommodation for the last 2 days, I couldn't even eat properly because there was no nice option. And I'm gonna be really honest, Italian food was one of the reasons why I wanted to hike in Italy. It hasn't really been available on this trail. I reached the second difficult climb. I wish it had some nice views as well, but nope. This is the last climb. Again, look where I am. So I have a little bit and then it's just descending. I've been in this forest forever, and I have 40 something minutes to Passo della Futa, if that's the name again. I don't know if I remember that correctly. And then after that I still need to keep walking into the next stage, so I'm going longer than today's stage, to a place called Podere Belvedere. It's just a resort B&B in the middle of nowhere, but at least it's a comfortable walk now. And my accommodation today actually has a pool and a nice restaurant, but given my luck the past few days, I am expecting both to be closed. At least food is really important right now because I'm so hungry.
One eternity later.
So you know, I told you that after I finish today's stage I need to walk for a little bit longer into the next stage. Well, it turns out I need to walk in a different direction, and it wasn't for a little bit, it's for an hour. I think I got 20 minutes left, maybe less. And I took this questionable path with Google Maps. This is so beautiful. So basically I decided to take this path because I didn't want to walk on that road anymore. Oh my goodness, this is my accommodation, I think. It's right here. It's right here. I made it. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. I had a very unfortunate breakfast, which consisted of some sweet slices of not the best quality cake, a sponge cake, not actual cake, and cappuccino. And now it's maybe 4 p.m. I'm feeling exhausted. That right there is my accommodation with a pool. This is it, but not before another hike. This is so beautiful. Area really looks like the Tuscany we all know. I made it. This is my room. Pretty simple, but I cannot believe I'm here. And I did book dinner for 7:30. So until then, I'll just relax. This is such a beautiful spot. The views are amazing. I finally had some really nice food. Well, someone wants to grab all the attention. Tomorrow I'm gonna have to take a bus because I really don't want to go back, but I also don't want to take the random alternative paths I see on my app. So I think my only option is to actually take a bus somewhere. Regarding the trail itself, I don't want to speak too soon, but so far it's been underwhelming. It didn't really have any social aspect to it, and it also didn't have much history or tradition to it. And it also didn't have pasta, which was an important criteria for me. It's been more like an endurance trail for me so far. I think it's more like a simple nature hike, and there isn't that much more to it. There aren't that many places to stop, there isn't that much tradition to discover, and there isn't that much to see on the way. Basically, it's been a nature-related workout for me, which is something good, because one main reason I wanted to do this trail for is the fact that I wanted to get back in shape, and I wanted to get going, to move. But other than that, it didn't really offer that much. I enjoyed visiting Bologna. I really enjoyed the portico walk to the church, the first stretch. I really enjoyed the descent into Madonna dei Fornelli. But other than that, I didn't really have many highlights. It's been just hiking in the forest, most of it. This is a highlight because this is a really relaxing evening. And here is the pool. So yeah, it's 8-9 p.m. So I'm just gonna go relax and go to sleep, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. Good morning from the beautiful Tuscany. This is my current view. I had breakfast, and you might think, well, life's good. I don't know how I'm moving further from here, because apparently the bus I was planning to take to San Piero a Sieve, which would bring me back on the trail, as I said, I went quite far off the trail. I don't want to go back to where I started going off the trail and then restart the trail from there. That would set me back a lot. It's a very long walk and I don't want to go back an hour. So I thought from here I could take the bus to San Piero a Sieve and just skip this stage essentially. But apparently the bus might just be for the factory workers here in the area. It might not be a public bus. If Google Maps gives you some countryside routes, they might not be that reliable, they might not exist. So this is a tough one. I spoke to the person here in reception and he said he will be going to a town south from here, parallel to the route, but it would get me halfway through to San Piero a Sieve where I'm trying to get. So that will really help. And from there, it would be less than a 2-hour walk. So worst case scenario, if the bus is not okay, I guess I can just walk. But I would have to walk on a random road. So there's not going to be any trail, any path, anything. I would just have to walk on the road, which is really not great. I had to do the same yesterday and I honestly don't want to do that anymore, but it might be my only option. And about that, if you look on the Via Degli Dei official website, they're gonna give you a lot of accommodation options, but in my opinion they're just hard to reach on foot because detours like this for remote B&Bs are for driving. All the other guests here drove here, they didn't walk for an hour by the side of a road. So it feels a bit weird to get to a place where there are really no hikers and you're just a weirdo who walked there. Not sure what else to say. I am loving nature, I'm loving being out here, but things got pretty difficult. Maybe it's because I tried to stay in B&Bs and I didn't try to book hostels that were specifically on the trail, but as I said, from home I couldn't tell exactly which one is on the trail, which one is a little bit off. I googled some things and they appeared to be on the trail. People were commenting, oh, we stayed here when we were walking Via Degli Dei, but then now that I'm here it's not as convenient and it's quite difficult to reach some places. So quick update, this green line is the trail and this is where I am. I hope you can see that. My host can take me to Galliano, which is here, which means I can reach the trail back and continue walking. So that is my current plan. If you're walking this trail, get accommodation on the trail. I cannot address this enough. Do not try to reach anything else because it's inconvenient and a lot of these B&Bs are not made for hikers. They're just remote places people drive to. Tonight I'm staying in a hostel. I do have a private room because the price difference between a bed and a private room was not too much, so I thought it's better to get some better sleep. And my accommodation is on this segment before San Piero a Sieve, so it's half an hour before reaching the end of this stage. That being said, I'm trying to reach the trail after Galliano and then I'll stop at my accommodation, and then tomorrow I will walk to San Piero a Sieve, and from there I will actually take a train back to Florence because I want to make the best of my time. I want to see what the trail is like, but I also want to spend time where there's more to see. And I don't think there's that much to see hiking into Florence. Great news. The host for my accommodation was actually going to Galliano and he kindly offered to drive me there. And then once we got to Galliano, he was like, well, I can just drive you to the trail, because it was just a few minutes drive and for me it would have been a very long walk. So I'm back on the trail. This really helped. And I have to walk for around an hour to my accommodation. The host was actually telling me how it's quite difficult to open bars and hostels and all of that in Italy, and that's why there aren't many places to stop. And whenever someone wants to open something, it's just a difficult process, so they get rejected. That explains some things. See, now this is more of what I pictured when I thought of this trail. Nice views, more walking, and no climbing of a mountain. No, actually it was good. It was a good experience. It started off as a very difficult hike, but now it's just lovely and pleasant, beautiful views. It's cloudy, which is amazing because today is pretty hot, but because it's cloudy, it's not that bad. My accommodation is already ready. I think I'll get there at 1:30 p.m. Then I can walk and have lunch. So things are looking good. Today's a good day. What I'm missing is the social aspect of it. But it's a new trail, so maybe it's gonna become more popular. At some point on the route, I did think of giving up because I was expecting more of a social aspect and it didn't have that. But then I thought, I'm here. I could actually explain things to people. I can actually build a guide. At least I'm gonna report back to the people interested. And here is my accommodation. Look how nice the shared room is. And here you have the bathroom. This is a shared bathroom. Container room. And this is my room. Let's see the view. This is the view. And here is the kitchen. And here there's a shared space with board games and maps and everything. This is so lovely. Wow, I'm loving this place. And it's newly renovated and it's really nice and the concept is nice. I don't know if I'm here during a not so popular time of the season or if it's just the fact that it's a new trail and it hasn't gained popularity and businesses haven't really adapted that much, because yes, I was waiting for accommodations like this one and I know there are a few others on the trail. Some of them were unavailable to book. So I tried with the B&Bs and they really didn't seem hiker friendly. They were more like family getaway kind of places. Not to mention the two massive detours with the B&Bs. By far this is the nicest accommodation I had and the host is extremely nice. She said that she was going to come in the evening and is hoping to meet me. Oh, and the reason I skipped lunch once again is because instead of going to some bar that's open between 3 and 7, I decided to go for a nicer food. And I found a restaurant that has an award-winning pizza chef. So basically his pizzas won pizza championships. Apparently that's a thing in Italy, and he has quite a few rewards for his pizzas. Look at this. Beautiful, stunning. And I was actually thinking I was gonna find this in the beginning or in the middle of the trail, not at the end. I guess I'm going with a championship winner. I had way too much food. Look at this beautiful sunset. Actually, let me just show you the sunset without me. Look at this. Today was such a beautiful day. People here in San Piero a Sieve also asked me if I was walking the Via Degli Dei. And now I have this beautiful Tuscan sunset walk for maybe 15 more minutes. And it's absolutely lovely. I think today is the best day I had on the Via Degli Dei. It's kind of funny because I barely walked any of it. Now I had highlights before as well, but I don't know, today I felt good. I think I needed the break, some nice food with the sunset walk. This is one of those special moments. I'm watching the sunset, I'm watching the beautiful Tuscan fields. I am on a relaxing walk without a backpack. I had a lovely dinner and I'm just thinking, wow, this is one of those great moments. Perfectly aligned. Where you're just in the moment. You're in such a beautiful moment. and you don't get them all the time, and particularly on this trail I had more lows than highs. You know, I always have this low, and then at the end of the trail, at the end of the day, at the end of the trip, there is a high moment. And here it is. It's simple. It's not shared with anyone, but it's beautiful and peaceful, and that's the beauty of it.